One of the most difficult situations that you might face as a college applicant is how to handle a waitlist decision from a school you really want to attend. Should you bombard the school with additional material, hoping that something you send will convince the school to admit you? Or should you just sit tight, fearing that the submitting additional unsolicited material will annoy the admissions committee? The golden rule is follow the instructions from the admissions committee. If the school says that you should not send in any more additional material, then you should abide by their policy. Even though you're anxious to let them know how interested you are, disregarding their request will not play to your advantage. While you want to remain in contact with the school while on the wait list, you need to be careful not to overdo it. When I was interviewing for Harvard, I heard about a case where we had an applicant submit 10 additional letters of references, hoping that he would convince us to admit him. However, I was convinced he would be attending the school, but there were concerns raised as to whether he would be a good student while on campus. We always encourage an applicant to remain positive and thoughtful while on a wait list. Many people who are placed on the wait list and aren't accepted decide to apply to transfer to that school a year or so later. Candidates who are considerate during the application process one year will be thought of more positively the next. Conversely, someone who does not present him or herself well as a potential first-year student may well have a more difficult time in the transfer application process. I've read many letters of continued interest that were generic and not very convincing. A better approach is to be specific regarding the reasons why you want to attend that school and how that specific school would be a good fit for you. And you'll want to highlight whatever is new and different since you completed your original application. Schools use waitlists to control class size. They have a number in mind of how many students they want to enroll. But admissions is not an exact science. If too many students accept an offer to enroll, the class will be too big. If too few accept, it will be too small. To avoid the latter scenario, admissions offices will maintain a wait list. If someone declines an offer of admission, the office will review the applications of students who remain on the wait list and consider admitting one. The list is typically not ranked, but schools do use it to maintain diversity. So you are most likely to be admitted if someone with a similar background to yours declines admission. Many schools have large wait lists and only expect to admit a few, if any, from the list. In addition, wait lists are often used to craft the class later in the admission cycle. In May and June, when schools look to their wait list, the admissions staff has a good idea of what the class will look like. So they often use the wait list to balance or solidify certain aspects, gender, diversity numbers, geographic distribution, etc., or to make sure the financial and budgets can be met. Some schools review their wait list starting in April or May after first deposits are due. Therefore, some candidates on a wait list may hear of their fate rather quickly. While elite schools have a compact to eliminate wait lists by early to mid-July, other schools may not admit waitlisted applicants until later, so you may not know until a few weeks before you start college. You should determine how long you're willing to wait. Set a date. If you haven't been admitted by then, ask to be removed from the wait list. In any event, you will want to pay your deposit to enroll at a college to which you have been admitted by the May 1st candidate's reply deadline, to be sure that you have a spot. You'll be expected to forfeit that deposit if you are offered a spot off the wait list at your first choice school. Being on a wait list certainly causes anxiety, but try to be patient. The school obviously saw strengths in your application and they want time to reevaluate it. Schools almost always accept people from the wait list later in the process, so you are still in the game.
Are you seeking admission to a stretch school? We have the expertise and we're here to help. Call us at 1-800-809-0800 to learn how we can help you achieve your educational dreams and ambitions.